Hey guys, so I'm sharing with you my recipe for my strawberry shortcake cupcakes. These cupcakes are probably, I don't know guys, they're amazing. They're absolutely amazing. They're soft and they're fluffy. They're full of flavor. They're bursting with flavor. That's how I always describe them. They are just bursting with flavor. There's freshness, there's fresh strawberries running through it. It's topped with a cream cheese whipped topping. It is delicious. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm out of breath because I just have to run upstairs to get into a room that is quiet enough to do this voiceover. So into my mixing bowl here, I have 1 stick of butter that is softened. My butter was out all day. You can just pop your butter in the microwave for maybe 30 to 45 seconds or so. You just want it to be nice and soft, really well softened, and I'm adding in 1 cup of sugar. I'm using pure cane sugar. You can of course use granulated sugar. I'm just going to go ahead and mix this now with my paddle attachment. You can just use your hand mixer, and we're going to mix this for 5 minutes. It's really important that we take 5 minutes to mix this together until this butter and this sugar becomes like a velvety, smooth paste. It's going to become really nice, really smooth, and fluffy, and that's what we're looking for. So after every minute to 2 minutes or so, I'm just going to come in here with my spatula and scrape the bottoms and the sides to make sure everything is getting incorporated. So again, 5 minutes, really important to let this go so it becomes incorporated really well, and scrape the bottoms and the sides every so often. I have children downstairs playing, guys. If you hear a lot of noise, that's just what it is. It is what it is. If I want to get this done, this is just how it's going to have to be done. Okay? So I have some strawberries here. This is about 6 medium-sized strawberries. You're just looking for about 3/4 cup to a half, 3/4 cup to 1 whole cup of finely diced strawberries. So I've washed this really well, and I'm just cutting this up in tiny little slices, about 1/2 of an inch by 1/2 of an inch or so. And this is what's going to be running throughout our cupcakes. So you don't want the slices too big or too small either. So about 1/2 of an inch by 1/2 of an inch. That looks great. So my mixer is still going. Again, I really want that to incorporate for about 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and check on it. And this is why it is worth it to take that time, whether you're using a hand mixer or a standing mixer, to work with your butter and your sugar. The color is pale and it is just fluffy. It's fluffed up. It's paler in color. It is amazing. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in my vanilla. I'm adding in about 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract because we want a lot of flavor in these cupcakes, as well as I'm going to share with you my little secret ingredients to making these just bursting with flavor. We're going to be using some orange extract. Now I know typically you may not even have orange extract in your pantry, and if you don't, that is fine. You don't need to go get this. A lot of times I just use orange zest. You need it. You need the zest. You need the zest for the extract. You're going to need about 1/2 of an orange for zesting. If you don't have an orange and you have lemon, you can definitely use lemon. However, I really like the flavor of the orange because it just adds such a subtle flavor, but it's so good. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my orange extract, as well as I'm going to add in some almond extract. Just about 1/2 teaspoon of almond and about 1/2 teaspoon of orange. Again, just use about the zest of 1/2 of an orange or maybe a lemon if that's what you have. Going to add in my almond extract as well. And we're going to go ahead and mix this together. You definitely want that fresh flavor in the cake. That's why either the zest or the extract works amazing. Going to mix that together until it's combined, and then we're going to go ahead and add in our eggs. So I have 2 large eggs here. You can mix this in one at a time if you want for best result. You should. However, I'm just dumping both my eggs in there at one time and just mixing it together, okay? It is what it is. So just putting in our 2 eggs and going to mix this together. Again, you just want to constantly be scraping the bottom and sides of your bowl to make sure that everything is getting incorporated. All right, so if it looks like it's curdling, that's perfectly fine. Just let your mixer do the work and let it go for about a minute or so just to get everything well incorporated. I have my mixer on about medium-high speed. This is just speeding it up a little bit, so that's why it looks a little extra fast, but just about on medium speed or so. I'm adding in another ingredient that's really important that's going to make this so amazing. I have some vanilla yogurt here. I'm adding in about a 1/4 cup of vanilla yogurt, and this is going to make it moist, and it's going to also add great flavor. So don't skip the vanilla yogurt. If you don't have vanilla yogurt and you really want to make this, you can still make this and add sour cream instead. However, the yogurt works best, but if you have sour cream, you can definitely substitute it with the sour cream. Mix that together. And our strawberries that we left over to the side here, I'm going to add in about 2 tablespoons of flour and just mix that around really, really well so that all of those strawberries are well coated in that flour. This is just going to ensure that they run evenly and, all throughout the flour, all throughout the cupcakes without also lending too much color and bleeding into our cupcakes. So just make sure it's tossed around. Now, you don't want your strawberries to be sitting too long with that flour because it will just start to absorb it. So just right towards when you're ready to use it. Now, our mixture has been mixing. We've added everything. We've mixed it. Now we're going to add our wet and our dry. In my sift sieve here, I have some cake flour, another important ingredient to making a light fluffy cupcake. You can, of course, use all-purpose flour. So I have my cake flour, my baking powder, and my salt. That is 1½ cups of cake flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and a little pinch of salt. I will have all the amounts listed below in the description box. So now we're going to go ahead and add our wet and our dry and alternate between that. I'm going to add half of my dry ingredients to my butter and sugar and eggs, etc., as well as half of my milk. I am using whole milk, and I have 1/2 cup here. I'm going to add in half of that, which is a 1/4 cup, and just gently mix that in. I've switched over to my spatula at this point because I do not want to overmix our flour, so I don't recommend using your mixer to mix in your flour. So after that is mostly incorporated, I'm going to add in the next half of my dry ingredients and the next half of my wet ingredients, which is my whole milk, and mix that together until it's also mostly incorporated. I tell you, man, the noise level, I'm far away and it's loud. I'm sure you can hear it as well. So that is mostly mixed in. It's beautiful. We're going to go ahead and add in our strawberries to it at this point. Make sure that it is nicely tossed with flour. If you see some getting absorbed in there, if you have any extra little flour laying at the bottom, just make sure everything is tossed lovely in flour. And we're going to fold these strawberries in, just going around the sides and down the center of our mixing bowl here. My oven is already preheated to 350 degrees, and I have my cupcake pan lined with cupcake liners. That is beautifully folded in. I just want to make sure every cupcake has a little few bits of strawberries running through them. And that is a beautiful fluffy batter, and it will smell divine with all of the extracts and everything going on in there. It's delicious. Honestly, so good. Ready to pop this into our cupcake liners now. So I have my handy dandy ice cream scoop. This is what I love to use whenever I'm making cupcakes. So I'm going to put 1 big dollop of ice cream scoop cupcake batter into each liner. We're going to give this a few taps on our counter just to make sure everything is nice and settled in there. And this is going to bake for about 23 to 25 minutes. You don't want to overbake these because you want them to be nice and soft and fluffy. I'm going to let them cool in my tray here for a little bit before taking them out. And when I remove them, I will let them cool completely before frosting it because we are making a cream cheese whipped frosting and we don't want it to melt on it. Now the last little bit of batter that I scraped off the sides of the bowl, I made one extra cupcake for myself, and I just wanted to show you here how incredibly soft and fluffy it is. After they cooled in the pan for a little bit, I removed them and set them out to just let the air flow through it lovely. If you have one of those cookie trays or whatever, cooling racks, just go ahead and use that. I just love to use my pans, whatever I have on hand. They're going to cool completely, and we're going to go ahead and make our frosting for it. Also, you can see that the strawberries are running through it, and they are just beautiful. To me, they are just beautiful. So I'm going to add 4 ounces of softened cream cheese to my mixer here. Now I'm using my paddle attachment here, and I did switch over to my whisk. I recommend using a hand mixer to make this because I found with my mixer, it just, especially with cream cheese, it gives you clumps and lumps of cream cheese in there. But we're just going to make this nice and smooth. And also I'm added in my vanilla extract. It's about maybe a tablespoon of vanilla extract. Just mix that till it's nice and smooth. And then we're going to add in our heavy cream once that is nice and smooth. Make sure also to scrape the sides and the bottom. I'm going to add my heavy cream and mix this together really well. That is 1 cup of heavy cream. And we're just going to mix this until we start seeing it coming together and having soft waves throughout. You don't want to overmix your heavy cream because, of course, that can be turned into butter. But once you can see it's starting to get thick, we're going to add in our powdered sugar. I love to make this frosting because it is really simple, but it is delicious. So you can see it comes together beautifully. Then I'm going to go ahead and add in my powdered sugar. I'll have all the amounts listed below, and we're just going to mix this in together until we get stiff peaks. Now you will also need some orange zest or lemon zest or orange extract in your whipped cream. This also gives it amazing flavor. So I added in my orange extract when I added in my vanilla extract for that flavor. So I have stiff peaks there. You see I switched over to my whisk attachment just to get it all mixed in because the paddle attachment just wasn't doing it for me. No, it wasn't. So I have a piping bag here with a tip. I believe this was a 2D tip. I'm putting it over a cup, filling up my piping bag. I actually did let my frosting chill a little bit in the fridge before piping it while my cupcakes continued to cool. And all we're going to do is just start in the center and make swirls on this. And I like to do a little swirl on top because we're going to be placing a half of a strawberry resting on the center. And of course, this is a shortcake, so we need some kind of crunch. I like to grate or shave a little bit of a graham cracker. You can also use digestive biscuits or a golden Oreo, whichever one you have, on this other side of it as well. And that is how I make my strawberry shortcake cupcakes. That is a name that just slipped my mind. Like, wow, I don't know. Either way, it is absolutely delicious. I hope that you guys give this a try. You probably have all these ingredients in hand. If you don't have the extract, just go ahead and use regular zest. And they are, I'm not even kidding you, one of the best cupcakes you will eat. You will try. They are delicious. The strawberries is a great little burst of flavor. All the orange zest or whatever is in there is just amazing. I'm not even kidding you. It is so good. I hope that you give it a try. If you try it and you enjoy it, let me know down in the comments below, and I will see you next time.